So now we've heard a lot about Sheila's life, we're going to find out a little bit more about her adoptive brother Jeremy's life. So we've mentioned earlier that they attended primary school with Sheila. And then in September 1970, at the age of 9, he was sent to Gresham School, a boarding school in Holt, Norfolk, where he joined the cadet force. Jeremy was apparently unhappy at Gresham's because of bullying and a sexual assault. His close pal Brett Collins, said that when Jeremy was 11, he was sexually molested by older boys and that it deeply affected him. Now, this is kind of all I found on it.
Yeah.
I don't think anything was reported or passed on anywhere. It's only what Jeremy has said and what his friend has kind of confirmed that Jeremy has said.
Okay.
So I don't want to say this is accurate information.
No, that's fair play. I mean, I don't want to... I had a conversation with somebody not so long back, actually, and they surprised me because it's somebody I know relatively well. And they said, no, it happens all the time. And the way they said it indicated to me that there was something more in their past. And I didn't quiz them on it. But then we watched this, I can't remember his name, Savile.
Jimmy Savile?
We watched this Jim Will Fix It documentary, and my God, I could quite happily put 2 rounds in the back of that guy's head.
He's already dead.
Well, thanks. That helped. You know, when you're watching that, that's your feeling.
It's sad that this only came out after.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
So this may be true. Likewise,
we just don't know either way.
It may not be.
Yeah. So I don't want to say something that's not legitimate in that sense. He left Gresham's with no qualifications, and then Jeremy attended sixth form college, and in 1978 achieved 7 O-levels. So it does sound like he's gone on elsewhere, and then suddenly he's gone, this is great, I can do this, and he's got 7 O-levels, he's achieved, he's changed. Neville paid for him to visit Australia, where he took scuba diving courses, and then he travelled to New Zealand as well.
All well and good if you got the money, innit?
Well, adoptive daddy paid.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, again, going back to Jonathon's situation, that's one of the criteria over here. I don't know what it is over there, but over here you have to be able to have enough money to support what you're going into. And there's something like a 3-year plan or a 5-year plan or something. If you haven't got them finances, you're not adopting. Which makes sense when you look at it all logical.
Of course, a child needs not just love, they do need financial support.
But if you've got to juggle between the two...
Oh, if you've got to juggle between the two...
Take the emotional every time.
Totally. Definitely. A former friend of Jeremy had said that while in New Zealand, Jeremy had broken into a jeweller shop and stolen an expensive watch. The friend said that Jeremy had also boasted of being involved in smuggling heroin. Again, this is comments from the friends. This has never been reported, and police wires have never got involved.
Okay.
Jeremy returned to England in 1982 to work on Neville and June's farm for £170 a week.
Well, I was earning 30 quid cash in hand at 15. So.
Well, this is in 1982 as well.
Well, to be fair,
so
depending on which month, I might not have even been born. So. But it's a lot of money. There you go.
It makes a big difference. It wasn't a bad amount. Jeremy also was set up home at 9 Head Street, Goldhanger, a cottage Neville owned, which was 3 miles, I think it is.
3 to 3.5
3 to 3.5 miles from the Whitehouse farm, which was a 5-minute drive by car.
Very important. Yeah. 5-minute drive.
5-minute drive by car, and at least 15 minutes by bicycle.
Yeah.
Neville also gave Jeremy a car to use, and 8% of the family company.
Can't sniff at that.
So, this Neville was really good to this guy. He's treated him no different so far, in the sense of financially and support that you'd expect anybody to.
Yeah, and the company was?
I think it's pronounced OC Road Campsite.
OC Road Campsite Limited, which ran a caravan site.
Yeah, it ran a caravan site. It said that Jeremy requested to run the whole of the caravan site, but Neville dismissed it as he thought his son had no business sense.
Well, to be fair, he's trying to smuggle cocaine he's dealing heroin, he's broke into a jeweller's, he's nicking a watch. I'd say the dude's got no sense at this point as well.
Well, apparently, a couple of weeks before the Whitehouse farm murders, Jeremy broke into the family's business at OC Road Caravan Park and trashed it and robbed it. And this wasn't found out that this took place and that it was him that did it until after the murders took place. We'll carry on.
Yep.
Jeremy apparently hated the farm, but it is said that his father would cut him out unless he stayed a farmer, basically. So he was going to cut him out of the family in the financial sense unless he stayed on the farm, and he was kind of being looked after by the family that was keeping him clean.
I don't think you'll mind me saying this, but that little part, not the whole drugs thing or anything else, it's basically Jonathan's situation. It was like, you're going to work on this farm for me, you're my stable hand, you're going to shovel shit from dusk till dawn, or you don't exist, get out. Well, and it was like one or the two. There was no in between.
Jeremy apparently wanted the life of a playboy, and apparently he was quite flamboyant. And it's also led to believe that Neville and June disapproved of Jeremy in his youth, as he'd had sexual relationships with both men and women. So I don't think they liked the fact that he was bisexual.
Right, okay. I didn't remember this. But yeah, go on.
You know, how accurate this is, who knows?
Yeah.
I can only go what several online sites have said.
What we're going again, 1980s there. That was...
So it was a bit...
When I grew up...
It wasn't
it was
as
different.
Accepted then.
Oh, I'll be honest, where I grew up, it was a big no-no. Where I grew up, it was something that people would openly say, oh, is he a whoopsie or whatever, and they'd be very negative about it. It wasn't in any way an accepted thing then. Thankfully, it is now, and it's more commonplace, a hell of a lot more commonplace.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But then, not so much.
It's also said that apparently Jeremy really despised his adoptive mother, June, because she was always preaching religion at him and had never forgiven his parents from sending him away to the public school, where obviously he didn't have a great time. Jeremy lived with his student teacher girlfriend, Julie Mugford, at the cottage in Goldhanger. So just bearing in mind she did live with him as well at that cottage, so he wasn't alone at the cottage. So a week-long visit was planned to the Whitehouse farm that had been arranged for August 1985 at June and Neville's request. The plan was that the boys, visited their grandparents for a week. And both Daniel and Nicholas were reluctant to stay at the farm. They didn't feel that June... They didn't like that June made them pray. And they didn't feel that they was comfortable there, I believe. They felt kind of uncomfortable in their presence. Now, in the car on the way there, they was with their father, and they spoke to him and said, hey, please speak to her about this. And Daniel had also become a vegetarian, and he was really worried that he was going to be forced to eat meat. Now, the boys were dropped off at the Whitehouse farm on the 4th of August 1985. This was the last time that Colin would see his 6-year-old twin sons.
Okay. So, before we carry on, let's go and get a drink. Okay, so I'm back with my best friend Budweiser. My question for you, and I'm aware that we've got one coming up to this age and one that's 3 years nearly now older than this age. 6 years old, and they're saying clearly and concisely, hey Dad, I don't want to go because they're going to make me eat meat, and because they're going to make me do loads of prayers or say grace around the table or do Hail Marys on the floor or whatever it might be. Chances of a 6-year-old being mature enough to be like, hey Dad, this and this. I know our youngest is more like, I'm not doing it. That's sort of her attitude with pretty much anything. But
times are different then. Also, we can only go with what is online. I don't know how forceful they were and how they really felt about it. Maybe it's just going, oh look, they're not going to make you eat meat. Like, you'll be fine. It's only for a week. But yeah, she prays or whatever else. That's her religion, but it's not yours. She's not going to make you pray. You'll be fine.
At the
Like,
same
you just
time,
don't
you've
know.
had the
We've only heard
grandmother.
kind of one side of it.
At the same time, you've had the grandmother going devil's child.
But
You've had the
yeah,
mother going
that's the
devil's
thing.
child.
We've also had that. We've had, you know, both of them having mental health problems, but at the same time, their mother had, you know, custodial rights, I believe. So, in that sense, she was entitled to have her children. So, during the night of the 6th and the 7th of August, so the evening of the 6th through to the early morning of the 7th of August 1985, a horrendous crime took place at the Bambers' residence of the Whitehouse farm in Tolshunt, Darcy, Essex. Neville Bamber, 61, along with his wife June, also 61, were shot and killed, and their adoptive daughter Sheila Caffell, who was 28 at the time, and her 6-year-old twins Daniel and Nicholas were also shot and killed. The only surviving member of the Bambers' immediate family was their adoptive son Jeremy. He was 24 years old at the time, and he said that he was at home in his cottage at Goldhanger.
So, this is the cottage that was 15 minutes cycle away, or 5 minutes by car, yeah?
Yeah, and apparently, you know, they'd been there as a family together, you know.
Yeah.
Sheila had been to visit them. I believe Jeremy was there for dinner earlier.
Yeah.
They'd all been
intermingling at some point.
Yeah, all been intermingling. He'd been there previously.
That's not where I was going. I was thinking more of sounds. I was thinking more of 5 minutes by car. Yeah, you're not going to hear a gunshot. Night time, sound travels further and faster at night. Then again, you don't know if there's roads nearby. You don't know if there's traffic. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the area,
could be,
so I don't know.
Double glazed windows. You might not hear a thing. You might put it down to a car backfiring. It could be a number of things, but yeah, I was trying to figure that out, but there'd be no way of telling. I mean, a car alarm goes off now. What do? Do we rush outside and go, oh my God?
Ignore it, don't you? Just go, turn the alarm off.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you don't worry about people these days.
It's a house alarm
the
that goes
care
off
of
up the
people
road.
and neighbours has gone. Like, you're lucky if you know your neighbour's name or what they look like these days.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very different now. So, Jeremy rang the Chelmsford police station on the 7th of August 1985 at 3:26 a.m. to report that his father had just phoned frantically to say that Sheila was going berserk with a semi-automatic rifle. As just mentioned that he did not use the 999, he has reported this to the Chelmsford police station. So he's
Let's explain that
this
for
number.
Other countries. For example,
so
America has 111.
911.
No, sorry, America has 911. We have 111 for medical stuff, but anyway, America. That's
so your 911. Your soon emergency. You'd call them, yeah.
Yes.
999 here is what we do the same.
Yes, that's where I was going. No, and instead he's called the police station non-emergency telephone number to initially make an inquiry, if you like. That's what you would be calling for. Yeah. You wouldn't call if somebody had just blown somebody's face off.
He's had to look up this number back in the day, in the phone books. We didn't have internet and mobile phones freely then to go and Google things. He's taken time to find this out.
First thing I was told to do, if you had any doubt that somebody was breathing or not, whip out your phone, bang it on loudspeaker, 999, I need an ambulance, this is where I am, this is what's happening, get here. First thing you were told to do. You weren't told, okay, call the hospital line on their non-business, non-emergency number.
So Jeremy apparently also had said that the line went dead in the middle of the call. Now, after the call to the police, British telecom operator checked the Whitehouse farm line at 3:56 a.m. and according to police log, at 4:30 a.m., according to the Court of Appeal, found that the line was open, so the operator could hear a dog barking. At the time, BT did not keep any of these records, so BT is our phone lines here. And according to the experts who testified